When I think of this person, I think of the time we spent 7 hours in the public library reading children's books and listening to Beep Beep, I'm a Sheep.
Or that time we carried 10 bottles of chocolate milk back from Tops because there was a 10 for 10 sale.
Or even the time when we went to the mall and he bought a quality $80 backpack, which broke a week later.
He is fun, sassy, and always stands up for what he believes in.
He is loud, proud, and not afraid to love everyone around him.
He's afraid of spiders, a savvy shopper, and he always has our backs.
Ladies and gentlemen, his taste in food may be off-brand.
But he is an on-brand personality.
Please help us welcome our best friend,
Your 2019-2020 FFA State Treasurer,
Noah
James
Weiler.
Close your eyes. You're dreaming of going on a hike. And as you look around, you see that you're walking along the cliffside of a gorge. You look down to see the bottom of the gorge, and you see a stream 200 feet down from where you are. You hear the faint sounds of the stream as it slowly erodes the rocks over time. You look back up, and you see all the paths and trees leading you all over the woods. You can start to smell all of the things of the woods, the scents of the trees, the dirt, and the fresh rain. As you take each step, you can hear the crackling of your footsteps on the ground. You can occasionally hear a bird or two chirping, breaking the silence of the forest. You can open your eyes now. This was a real dream I had, and I couldn't believe that it wasn't true when I woke up. How many of us have had a dream like this, where when we woke up, it felt so real and we couldn't believe that it wasn't? This happens to me all the time. Then you're back to reality. We have these dreams and they always come to an end when we wake up. The dreams we have while we're sleeping are not the only dreams that we have. We dream of our future hopes, goals, and aspirations to one day come true. The only way to make these dreams a reality is to take the steps to live them. The dreams we have at night are different from the ones we have during the day. Oftentimes, the dreams we have while we are asleep have no rhyme or reason to them, but we have complete control of the dreams we have during the day. These are the dreams that have purpose in our lives and that we should pursue. I had one of my most memorable dreams quite a few years ago. Growing up a military child, I had the opportunity of going to a couple different schools. I am very lucky though. Other than 4th through 6th grade, I went to South Jefferson. That was until 10th grade when my father told me that he would be moving to Indiana and I with him. That was one of the worst days of my life. All I could think about was what I would be leaving behind. My friends, my family, and most importantly, the life that I had been building since moving back in the 7th grade. Emotions filled me to the brim. Anger towards my dad, and sadness because I would be leaving my life behind. I felt like I was living a nightmare. I had thought up presentations to give to my dad, listing off all of the reasons as to why I should stay. Moving away would determine what the rest of my life would look like. Would I be as involved in the FFA in Indiana? All I knew that is if I moved, I would be losing what developed me into me. At this point in time, my life revolved around the FFA. My chapter was like a second family to me, and nothing could ever replace that. The fight for me to stay was very long and hard. I felt very powerless in this. Oftentimes, it was the adults talking about it and leaving me out of the conversation. Because of this, I made sure to voice my opinion whenever I could so that my needs were heard. I made one last plea by sitting down my family and listing off all of the reasons as to why I should stay in New York. It came down to 1 week before I was supposed to move, and we still hadn't made a decision on whether I was going to. The time came for my parents to decide, and 1 week before I was set to move, they decided that I was going to stay in New York. I couldn't believe it. This dream I had became reality. Each day we dream, we think about what could happen. Oftentimes we fail to realize what will happen. We must take that first step in order to bring our dreams to life. While we can continue hoping, there comes a time when we must stop hoping and start doing and making our dreams a reality. We've all had those times where we woke up abruptly to a harsh alarm that wouldn't turn off. Because of this, we didn't even want to get out of bed, let alone get ready for the rest of the day. This can happen in real life with our dreams. If we are forced to take that first step, we may not feel ready or willing yet to take on our dreams. In order to make them a reality, you must take that first step. My first step was realizing that I wanted to stay in New York. Will you take that initiative now, or will you wait until you are forced to do so? I want us all to close our eyes and think of a dream we may have. Once we have that dream in mind, you can open your eyes. I want you to turn to someone near you, text a friend, or even set a daily reminder to follow that dream. Anything that will keep you accountable. This can be that instant we take the first step. Look back on this moment to keep trying to make this a reality. We've all accomplished something at some point, whether it be getting a chapter office, winning a competition, or going to nationals. We must not stop there though. We must always ask ourselves the question, what are we going to do next? For most of my life, I had no idea what I wanted to do or even what I enjoyed until I took my first agriculture class. The first time stepping into that classroom, I felt a sense of belonging. Walking in, I could see the loose soil from the last class, to the right all of the power tools in the shop, and all of the posters covering the walls. It was so different from all of my other classes. Instead of just sitting at a desk, I would go on field trips, go on nature trails, and even go into the greenhouse. I loved it. No teacher had ever applied something so real to class. It was after this that I started to get more and more involved into the FFA. And soon I was attending every event that I could. It was so easy to devote all of these hours into it because it was something I was truly passionate for. When we say we bleed the blue and gold, I might have actually if I would have gotten cut, even now. You see, I was so focused on what I could still do, I failed to realize what would happen to me after I took this blue jacket off for the very last time. The thought of losing that sense of belonging would wash over me every time I thought about the future. After learning that I got state office, I realized that I didn't have to worry for a whole nother year. I had a conversation with Mr. Hill where he said, "You've devoted so much time to the FFA. What are you going to do after that?" It was these couple words that made that fear wash back over me. I stood there silently, thinking for 5 minutes, just trying to give Mr. Hill an answer. And I honestly couldn't give him anything other than go to college and become an ag teacher. I still hadn't really thought about what I would do after. I spent all of my time thinking about all I could do in my FFA pursuits. I failed to realize what's next. Who knew that loving something so much could be a downfall? It has been 1,617 days since I put on my first very own blue jacket. The question about what I was going to do after I took off this blue jacket for the last time scared me. I lived the dream of being an FFA member, but now that was coming to an end. It is now time to start dreaming of a new dream, one that will bring me as much joy and happiness as the dream of FFA did. When we have dreams, they are flexible and full of potential, not carved into stone. Each time we close our eyes, our dreams can change. In 1 second, they may feel impossible, but the very next day, they may be just within our grasp. We are constantly changing as we grow and develop new passions. Whether our goal has been fulfilled or does not fit us anymore, only we have the chance to dream of a new dream. Every time we accomplish a goal, we have made a dream a reality. The question is, where do we go from here? Do we stop progressing or do we continue on to more? In our lives, we are constantly hitting new milestones, like starting high school, learning how to drive, and so much more. After each one of these milestones, our lives change. In these times, our hopes and our dreams do too. You may not want anything to change, and your dreams are important to you for a reason, but there comes a time where this dream may end, and you must dream a new dream. I want us all to think about the next milestone we may hit in life. Whether it be as simple as passing the grade you're in or getting your first job, ask yourself, what's next? Life does not stop at one single point, and neither should you. There are still 1,000 things that you can accomplish in your life. I challenge you to ask yourself, what next? Our lives are continuously evolving, and our dreams should do the same. Each day, we need to keep an eye towards the future so we can continue to achieve great things. We must make the decision to take that first step. I did not sit back in my fight to stay here in New York. Instead, I made sure to voice my opinion. None of us can sit back if we truly want to make our dreams a reality. Only we can do this for ourselves. While we may have taken the first step today in achieving our dream, it is up to you to take the rest of the steps to achieve the dream. When we achieve it, we must not stop there. My dream of being an FFA member is coming to an end soon, but it is my job now to think about what's next. As we grow and change through life, we need to continue dreaming of new hopes and dreams. Once we know what these are, we can determine what steps to take next. Today is the day we take ourselves out of the dream world and put ourselves into the reality. I dare you to be a dreamer that makes your own reality.